welcome everyone once again. I'm happy to see you all here. Let me introduce you our speaker today. Dean Hogan is our long-term supporter in many kind of EURAXESS activities. He is a self-employed career coach and professional trainer and consultant. He joined EURAXESS on behalf of Irish University Association, and he is member of our mentoring program as a mentor, also as a trainer. Through the years, many sessions were led by him. So welcome again. And Dean, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. I hope everybody can hear me okay, yes?
Yes.
Okay, and before I start, I want to say thank you once again to Elena, because this would not be possible without her. Okay, everybody. So hello and welcome from Dublin. I'm in Dublin City University Talent Garden. Depending on where you are in the world, I wish you a good morning, a good afternoon, or a good evening, but not necessarily a good night just yet. Our time limit here is approximately 1 hour and 15 minutes, give or take a few minutes either side. So I want to get as much into that as possible, and I want to get your feedback and your input and your contribution also. So confidence. If you have a lot of confidence, you might find it a little curiously confused by what all the fuss is about. Confidence is just there. It feels like the air that you breathe. However, if you occasionally struggle with confidence, it can seem like a mythical, elusive stream of magic fairy dust that disappears just as you reach out to grab it. So today we will try to capture it, examine it, and talk about confidence. As you know by now, my name is Dean Hogan. I'm a career coach and trainer. For 10 years now, I've been working with the EURAXESS network on career development for postdoctoral researchers. And at the moment, I'm currently working on a contract where I'm working with long-term unemployed people. And the work is really interesting because we're operating in an environment of full employment, and yet we still have a lot of people who are long-term unemployed. So confidence again comes up every time in my work, every day in my work, no matter who I am working with. The first time I ever sit down with a client, the two things that I look for are confidence and motivation. If my client is confident and motivated, we can roll up our sleeves and get to work straight away, conquer the world. But the thing is that rarely happens, because if you are confident and motivated, you probably don't need to see a coach, apart from maybe some specific details about your career planning. This is because confidence and motivation will work together in an upward spiral. They will feed off each other. And conversely, when somebody is struggling with confidence or a lack of confidence, motivation and confidence will work in a downward spiral. Your confidence gets lower, and in turn, your motivation gets lower. This is why confidence is so important. It affects our personal and professional lives. It can help us to great achievements, but it can also stop us from reaching our full potential. So what we're going to do, we're going to talk about how confidence can become eroded when we are not looking, without us even noticing. How does this happen? We will look at building confidence and being resilient. It's not just a case of building your confidence up. Resilient confidence is confidence that is there to last. I will talk about this chosen topic for about 20 minutes, and then I will give you some questions for you to work with alone when you want to work on your confidence in the future. And you will always have those questions. It will get you thinking about confidence in the way that we want you to think about confidence. And we will spend the remainder of our time then after that. We will do some group work where we will have group questions, and you guys will provide your input and we'll share experiences. So that's a lot to squeeze into an hour and 15 minutes. So we'll get cracking and get going. And obviously, I want to take as many questions as possible at the end, and I will stay here until all the questions are answered. So if we were to do a self-check in the room, if you want to all go to chat, Let me share my screen with you for a moment because I want to show you something. This first question here. Okay, you see that? Okay, guys, you can all answer this in the chat from 1 to 10. This is known as Cantrell's ladder. How are you feeling in terms of confidence? From 1 to 10, 10 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. We're going to do a little experiment here on how you're feeling. And then after we talk about confidence and after we examine confidence and examine how you should be thinking about confidence, we're going to answer the same question again. And just for your own purposes to see if you feel better after we've discussed this. So if you guys want to give an answer on 1 to 10, you don't need to, everything's pretty much anonymous at this stage, and then we can check it later on. Sevens, sixes, fives. Okay, we're all in the top half of the scale. We're doing good, and something also good. Okay, so we've got a really good mix here, guys. So that's fantastic. We've got a really good mix, and we've a great mix of people, and we've a good mix of confidence levels at the moment and how we are feeling about it. Okay, so does anybody, before we begin, have a working suggestion for a definition of confidence? Would anybody like to try that? What would be your definition of confidence? Anybody like to try? No. Okay. Notice that I'm actually still sharing.
There is an answer in the chat. Confidence is the belief that you can succeed.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Also, the confidence is that the person feels like worth something in this life and can achieve something and can plan the future. Yes, it's the opposite to depressed or passive person who is not doing anything or afraid of something.
That's it, Alana. Thank you very much. It's a belief that you can succeed in your chosen path or goal. That all things being equal, if you have the same advantages as everybody else, I can achieve my goals just as much, if not more, than anybody else. That's essentially a good working description of confidence. So in order to try to discuss, analyze, or measure, or create, or distribute confidence, we need to capture it or at least discuss it in a way that makes sense to us. In my day-to-day work, once we get over the initial introductions of confidence and motivation, we move on to skills, because as researchers, your skills are central to your development and your career path. Until a future employer comes to know you and love you the way your friend and your family do, each one of you is nothing more than a unique collection of skills and competencies. Obviously, your current colleagues will know you very well, but a future employer will only be looking at your CV and they'll just be looking at your skills and competencies. Your skills are your passport that can take you wherever you wish to go with your career. Your ability, however, to explain, discuss, and articulate your skills and how you can best use them is underpinned by confidence. You know, you want to be able to confidently discuss your work because that is going to come up for you on so many occasions, especially in interview sessions. So for the purposes of our interaction today, we will treat confidence like it is a skill. Your scientific or hard skills will determine if you get that job interview for your next contract.
Dean, can you please speak a bit louder? There is a request from the...
Yes, I will.
Chat. Okay, thank you.
Your scientific or your hard skills will determine if you get that interview for your next job or contract. But your soft skills will determine how far you go past that. Confidence is one of the most important of the soft skills. A good comparison would be communication skills. There are numerous communication skills such as public speaking, writing, listening, networking, etc. Some people are naturally good communicators. They are excellent with other people. They know how to work a room. So is that a skill or is that a personality trait? It stops being a personality trait and starts to become a skill when you recognize that this is something really useful. So you start to practice in order to improve it, to experiment with new techniques and develop it. It becomes a skill when you start to practice and improve. And we can do the same thing with confidence. Self-confidence is a skill that we can develop through awareness, repetition, and persistence. So we all know what low confidence looks like. It's hard to describe, but we know it when we see it. We see it in non-verbal signals. We see it in words. Your speech can be very negative or pessimistic, or maybe you make a lot of jokes at your own expense. Being confident and the ability to laugh at yourself is one of the supreme examples of confidence. However, when you constantly run yourself down and you constantly talk about yourself in a bad way, that's low confidence. And we want to look for your facial expressions will betray your confidence. So will your posture, if you're slumped or if you're sitting up straight. Eye contact is really important. Eye contact always displays confidence, and lack of eye contact always displays lack of confidence. How we respond to certain stimuli, sometimes even how we dress or how we pay attention to our personal appearance. We can see this in animals. We've all seen what a scared or badly treated animal look like. When you call them, they will shrink away. This is learned behavior from their past, and it has been internalized. And people are pretty much the same. Low confidence is usually the result of an internalized negative experience or a number of experiences. Sometimes it can be just one very bad experience, or somebody in our life either consciously or subconsciously eroding our confidence by negative comments or negative observations. If we then start to believe these comments and these negative observations, we then develop negative beliefs that reinforce this effect, and that is what results in low confidence. In terms of our confidence and our career development, these are referred to as self-limiting beliefs. We develop these self-limiting beliefs based on the input that we are allowing in. So what is the source of the negative or self-limiting beliefs? It can be from being bullied when you were younger. It can be difficult circumstances from your childhood. Excuse me. It can be if you're from a certain background. For example, some people are very confident in certain company, but in the company of other people from a different background, they may not be so confident. So these things have been internalized. So if that is the case, you need to recognize and change these negative or self-limiting beliefs. When they have become ingrained, they can result in distorted perceptions, bad habits, and faulty decision-making. We do not choose to be this way. It is based on experience, and now it's become internalized. Other people can influence you, but you hold the key to the change. Nobody will believe in you unless you do. Nobody else is coming to help you. You will not rise above the opinion of yourself unless you change that opinion, because we are creatures of habit. So I want to share some questions with you now. Now, guys, you don't need to make any notes here. You don't need to write anything down. We will send you these questions once we have finished the presentation. These questions will be sent. You also do not need to reply to these particular set of questions. You'll be replying to the questions later on. But for these questions, I want you to keep them, and I want you to think about, where is it? I want you to think about the questions with me. So you don't necessarily need to make notes here. But what I want you to do is, I want you to read through these questions with me and get yourself to thinking about your own confidence. These questions you can keep, and we will send them to you afterwards, because in the future, when you're thinking about working on your confidence, these questions will help you. Okay, so the first question is, what is the best thing about you? What are your greatest strengths? What do you do well? What are you better at than other people? Now, you guys will recognize the point of these questions, because a good way to improve your confidence is to recognize and acknowledge that what you are good at and what you do well. These areas where you excel can help you believe in your talents and feel good about your unique skill set and capabilities, because each one of you do have unique skill sets and unique capabilities. You have educational certifications that you sometimes forget or take for granted. You should take pride in the time and effort and commitment it took to earn these credentials and feel confident about your abilities. Another question, what do you consider to be your best quality, and what are your 3 favorite qualities about yourself? So you understand the intent behind these questions. Reflect on who you are now and what you like about yourself. List 3 personal qualities that you like about yourself and how they positively impact in your life or contribute to your professional success. You may focus on aspects of your character and personality, or things that you like about the way you look, the way you speak, or the way you feel. What do you value, and what are your fundamental beliefs? This is really important, because this can be the anchor for your confidence. Reconnecting with your values and your core beliefs can help you feel more confident. You may boost your confidence by identifying causes or initiatives that align with your principles. If your work or your organization makes a positive contribution to society, you may feel good about yourself because your actions and your values are in sync. Do your core beliefs about yourself and your future development help you or hold you back? Another similar question, where do you think your self-limiting beliefs or confidence issues stem from? Consider a time when you achieved personal or professional success. How did that make you feel? What achievement are you really proud of? What is the hardest thing you have ever managed to accomplish? Think about these questions, guys, as we're going through them. What was the best moment of your day or your week? So these particular questions is all about reliving happiness or excitement that can help you feel other positive emotions, including self-belief and determination. When you get positive feedback from somebody you respect or from a supervisor, you feel good and you feel positive. Recapturing positive experiences makes you feel positive, and it can make you feel good about who you are as an individual. Why are you important to the people in your life? What are you grateful for? You may be able to cultivate confidence by identifying the things that people that you're grateful for, and take pride in your ability to facilitate positive experiences or surround yourself with good people. Gratitude may allow you to recognize events and opportunities you've had, and notice times when you've offered support or guidance to others. Finding positive situations in your life may increase your self-esteem by highlighting times when others trusted you or saw your potential. How do you define personal and professional success? By being successful, being successful can help you feel confident in your ability to execute tasks or develop new ideas. But instead of letting other people define what is success for you, you should define what you want in terms of success. And this allows you to set your goals. If you have a clear definition of what you hope to achieve, you can then foster an environment that encourages you to grow and meet your individual goals. Who do you know that has the type of confidence that you would like to have? Do you know anyone that has the type of confidence you hope to have? Finding a mentor or somebody you admire can help you to identify the kind of person you hope to become and set realistic goals. Think about people you know or celebrities that possess the level of confidence you're interested in developing. Notice what habits they have or routines they have. They establish that allow them to achieve their goals, and consider emulating their behaviors if it works for you. What qualities do these people with confidence have? If you could pick 3 of these qualities, what would you choose? Suppose that you have developed these 3 qualities in yourself, and now you are part of who you are. What would that look like? What would that feel like? In order to start developing these qualities in yourself, what would an ideal plan for you look like? What daily practice can you perform to boost your confidence? One way to boost is to commit to a daily routine that encourages your growth and development. Consider one action that you can take every morning that makes you feel good about yourself, and notice whether this impacts how you feel for the rest of the day. Well, you may hope to execute one big task to increase your confidence. Completing a small daily task may have a more sustainable effect. Do you recognize any self-limiting beliefs that you have? How are your confidence issues evident in your daily life? How often do you doubt your own capabilities or the capabilities of others? Recognizing your behavioral patterns can help you identify areas of improvement and create sustainable change. If you notice that you frequently doubt yourself and your abilities, consider interrupting those thoughts and replacing them with a positive statement about yourself or another person. I'll speak a little bit more about that before we finish. Changing the language you use to describe yourself is really important. Always watch the words you use to describe yourself. Others can help you feel more confident in your skills. What is one thing you can do to make yourself proud today? Another question. Have you ever passed your own expectations? Do you like trying new things, or do they make you nervous? What songs can you listen to in order to boost your mood? So we are going to send those questions to you when we finish, and you guys can keep those and work on them when you need to. We will be doing a different set of questions in the for the group share. So, some food for thought there. Another thing I want to mention is we need to dispel the myth that being loud or being very sociable and happy is the same thing as being confident. It's not. That's just being extroverted. Extroverts are not necessarily confident. In many cases, somebody being extrovert, especially when they're young, that's usually to cover up a lack of confidence. Some of the most confident people I know are very introverted, but they are in touch with their own values and who they are. So they are pretty unshakable in their confidence. Confidence is an inside job. Other people can compliment you and make you feel good, but only you can build your own confidence. When we lack confidence, we are hesitant, timid, and we stay within our comfort zone. And this is what we're going to talk about, is moving outside that comfort zone. In order to improve your confidence, you need to move little by little, if you wish, out of that comfort zone. Courage makes confidence. So how do we steadily move out from our comfort zone and improve our confidence? Just like leadership, leaders are made and created through the mistakes that they make. Leaders learn from leading. It's the same thing with confidence. You keep trying. Confidence is expanded when you stretch yourself, go beyond where you have been before, and try new things. Just be willing to try. Just being willing to do something without actually doing something is already a first step. Have you left meetings wishing you had spoken more about a particular topic? Have you avoided an opportunity to make a presentation? Have you declined to apply for a job for which you were well qualified? Have there been times when you wish you had said something different? Have there been times when you wish you had said anything? And all because you doubted yourself or didn't have the confidence to raise your hand. It's frustrating and it leads to a lot of internal dialogue and recrimination. One of the things you can do is to create an alter ego. This would be a perfect version of you that only you know, obviously. And of course, your alter ego will be full of confidence. This alter ego will eagerly do the things that you lack the confidence to do. You can imagine your alter ego doing many things. And this is where we come to positive visualization. Many of you will be familiar with. It comes from the sporting world. In a quiet moment of reflection, you place yourself in imaginary scenarios where you mentally rehearse favorable outcomes. And this is where you use the alter ego. Most importantly, it allows you to have positive thoughts. And something that I learned a long time ago, this really helps you to sleep as well. Normally, when we can't sleep and we're upset, it's because we're having lots and lots of negative thoughts, or we're thinking about that might happen tomorrow or something that happened today. When you are using positive visualization and thinking about positive outcomes and thinking about positive things that you're going to do, you actually become much more relaxed, and actually sleep will come a lot easier than when you're using negative thoughts. So one of the things that stops us speaking up or raising our hand or stepping forward is the terrible thought, oh, what if it all goes wrong? What if I make a mistake? What if my mind goes blank and I can't think of anything to say? These are all the terrible things that we think about when we have self-limiting beliefs. One of the ways around this worry is to prepare and be prepared. Imagine different scenarios where things could go wrong. Seek advice from people with experience if necessary, but prepare for all eventualities. Being well prepared is a great way to silence negative thoughts. Most importantly, be willing to try. End the inner negative dialogue. The next time there is an opportunity to step outside of your comfort zone, do not allow yourself the headspace to be stopped by limiting beliefs. Instead of thinking of bad thoughts, don't let yourself out. Just say, right, I'm going to do it. And just to be sure that nothing negative enters your head, count backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just put your hand up. Just do it. It's done. You only have to be brave for about 10 seconds. We worry about the rest afterwards. But then you take a seat at the table. So now that you've committed, you need to prepare. And how do you silence the negative thoughts and fears again? When you are low on confidence, stepping outside your comfort zone can, by definition, be uncomfortable. Your pulse rate will increase. You might feel your heart beat a little bit harder. The palms of your hands might get a little bit damp or wet. This is not negative thinking. This is recognizing realities and preparing for them. Embrace the realities. Welcome them, because these symptoms that I just described can happen when you're stepping on a roller coaster also. There is a fine line between exhilaration and terror. Embrace it and own it. Instead of surrendering to the physical manifestations, tell yourself, this is where I want to be. These feelings can be fear, but I choose to recognize them as excitement. This is what I have spent the last 6 years preparing for, and now is my time. I'm going to embrace this. I have all of these fight or flight impulses, and I'm going to harness them into positive energy that will carry me through this experience. So the number one thing that always comes up as an example is public speaking. You know, most people are terrified by public speaking, particularly if they don't have experience. So let's talk about, you know, how fearful and how scary that might be. You know, when you're public speaking, you have a number of challenges. Even the most confident of individuals should be nervous when speaking in front of a large group of people. Extreme nerves can be debilitating, even if we lose control of our feelings and emotions. The other people in the room will not be aware of how you are feeling. To them, you will be like a duck calmly floating across the water, even though underneath the water, you're going to be paddling furiously. There's really only 2 things that will betray your nervousness when you're public speaking, and they are perfectly natural reactions to stressful situations. The first one is the dreaded cotton mouth. And that's when your mouth goes completely dry. Those who have experienced, I know I have, it can be terrible. So if you get cotton mouth, and you're using a microphone, then your mouth starts to make these horrible clacking noise. So you always bring your bottle of water. It's a fantastic prop. Don't bring a glass of water because a glass can be spilled, and if you're nervous, that's going to make it worse. Your bottle of water is your friend. The other thing that can happen is that your voice can quaver with nervousness. Now, most of the people in the audience will not know you, so they will not notice that your voice is quavering. But again, in a situation like that, don't try to ignore the nervousness or don't try to push it away. What you do is you need to get through the experience, but you will be, you don't want to just push right on through. You want to slow down, make sure everything does not go by in a blur. So when you're in front of a group, instead of surrendering to the nervousness, you take your bottle of water, you very slowly look around the room while you're unscrewing the cap, let everybody wait for you, take your sip of water, they will wait, and then lean forward into the microphone and say, with a smile, wow, there's a lot of people in this room. Don't ignore the big elephant in the huge room. Take ownership of it. Just say it, I'm nervous. By doing that, you achieve three things. First one is everybody in the room will be sympathetic towards you and they will want you to do well. The second thing is you've lowered expectations, and that's always a good thing. And by simply sharing this emotion with the audience, your level of nervousness will lower and you will feel the positive vibes coming back from the audience. Once you start to speak, make a conscious effort to slow down and then slow down some more again. The fight or flight instinct will want you to speak very fast and end this as soon as possible. Control the moment and slow down. One last thing about public speaking, and that is confidence. I'm actually going to skip this because I noticed that we're moving on time. So before we move on to the interactive phase, I want to briefly mention three other aspects that I believe are fundamental to working on and increasing confidence. The first thing is self-awareness, really important. It's the specialty of an organizational psychologist called Tasha Ulrich. If you are interested in this topic, I suggest you look up her work. Her name is spelled Tasha Eurich. Self-awareness is the ability to see ourselves clearly, to understand who we are, how other people see us, and how we fit into the world. According to the research by Dr. Ulrich and her team, 95% of people think they are self-aware, but only 10 to 15% actually are. Do you remember what I said earlier about how it's important to know and understand your own principles and values? That is where self-awareness comes in. Know yourself and understand what makes you tick and what is the best environment that will allow you to flourish. And that is what career development is really all about. Raising self-awareness so that you can understand yourself better, understand how you work best, understand what motivates you to set and achieve your goals. The other aspect I want to mention is self-esteem, because self-esteem is used a lot of time interchangeably with self-confidence. If confidence is a belief in your ability to overcome and achieve, self-esteem is the belief that all things being equal, I am a good person. At the risk of oversimplifying, we could say that confidence projects outward, while self-esteem is the opinion of oneself. They are connected but different. It is possible to have high self-esteem but low confidence. For example, I know that I'm a really good person, but I don't have the confidence to try X, Y, and Z. But it would be really difficult to have low self-esteem and high confidence. So I think having good self-esteem is important to confidence also. So to improve our confidence, one, we need to recognize our self-limiting beliefs, know where they come from. Two, we need to understand where they come from and are they logical? Use your research and neutrality. Welcome these thoughts unconditionally. Speak to the source of your negativity and show the love and compassion that you would show yourself, or maybe show other people. Show that when you're dealing with your own self-limiting beliefs. And three, we need to replace the self-limiting beliefs with positive thoughts. And lastly, once we change our thoughts, we can then change our behavior or habits. Pick a task, if possible, make it something difficult that will give you pride to achieve. However, if you don't necessarily want to be telling other people what you are planning or doing. Do it just for you. This is because when we tell others, most of the time what we're doing is we're seeking external validation. Then you're relying on other people to build your confidence, and that is building on sand because it's something you cannot control. What you can control is your beliefs and your habits. Chasing others for likes or thumbs up is exhausting and actually causes low confidence. Be supportive and encouraging to yourself. Over time, you should become relatively or at least healthily immune from external praise and criticism. You won't let the praise change who you are or your perspective, and you won't let criticism affect your confidence. And that is resilience. And that's really what you want to build toward. That is the true test of your confidence, when you are become resilient. When you've built your confidence up to the point that it cannot be hurt by negative experience or criticism. Cheer for other people's success. Wins are better celebrated when they are shared, and confident people support those around them because that's what leaders do also. The last point I want to make is confident people have no problem saying no. Do it politely, but still say no. We are programmable by design, but we can choose how we are programmed. Stop doing unimportant things that you do not enjoy. No, thank you. I don't have time. I can't afford it. I don't want to. And don't feel bad about it. Don't fall into unconscious behaviors or patterns where the needs of others are always before your needs. Environment will trump will. Our good intentions will always be beaten by a bad environment over time. So now, Elena, can we move to the Mentimeter questions now, please? This is where you guys can get some feedback, please. If you just use your phone on the QR code, you'll see the questions. And then we'll get some feedback and we're going to discuss that then. Okay, can you guys see the first question?
I see it.
Just check here that everybody has it. Okay, guys, have you got the questions from Mentimeter?
Yeah, yes. Answers are already available. Just a second to share with you.
Fantastic. So the first question is, how do you feel about public speaking? Okay, so this is where we're going to really help each other now. Challenge is a great way to look at it. Proud is fantastic. Excited and nervous. These are all good. And then we have a little bit of embarrassing. Well, there is potential for embarrassing, but it's not always embarrassing. Anxious, delivery. Yeah, these are all the things that everybody thinks about. I'm not seeing anything that is going to stop us there. Depends on the number. It's true. But the thing is, it may depend on the number, but your address is still the same. The reason why I begin with public speaking, anybody who, if you struggle with confidence or if you struggle with public speaking, actively seek out public speaking opportunities. For those of you who drive, public speaking is just like driving. Because when you're public speaking, you're thinking about the audience, you're thinking about your message, you're thinking about the illustrations, you're thinking about your voice projection, you're thinking about moving at the right pace, you're watching the time, etc. It's the same as driving a car. When you begin to drive a car, you have to watch your rearview mirror, you got to watch the side mirrors, you got to use all these different things, the brake and the clutch, you're looking far ahead, you're looking close. Over a period of time, the more you drive, you do all of these things subconsciously. You do it without even being aware that you're doing it, to the point that you can then also have a conversation with somebody in the car while you're doing all these things. The same thing happens with public speaking. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. Seek out opportunities. And as you pointed out there, it depends on the numbers. Start with small numbers and build up. Okay. I'm just going down to the end here. Okay, so the next question. How have you overcome one of your fears? So if any of you had a fear in the past that you've overcome, how have you done that? Please share your experiences with us and see what we can learn. Nobody's had to overcome any fears? Somebody that says public speaking depends on what language you use. This is true too. By exposing it in a controlled environment, that's an excellent suggestion. And you all know what a controlled environment is. Practice a lot, motivation and support from others. Yeah, very important that we have supportive people around us. Practice and try little by little. I said yes and did it without overthinking. That's what we discussed earlier. I pushed myself to do it. You see, we're getting a lot of similar things that will be discussed about when you make yourself do it. You may feel really bad when you're pushing yourself to do it, but when you do it, you feel so much better afterwards. Training and preparing harder, trying multiple times. Like you guys, you know, I'm not really teaching you anything here. You know this stuff. Telling me what I have done, more difficult things. Yes, you know, just, you know, I've done more difficult things than this. I can do this by thinking of solutions to the situation, avoiding a direct start. Yeah, nothing like a little bit of putting it off. Practice a lot, face them, and practice different attitudes towards them. So, you know, a lot of really good ideas. You guys are really getting the point here. 3, 2, 1, go, no thinking. Perfect. Just do it. Yeah, we have Nike fans out there. But this is what it's all about. So the next question we go to is, what can you do to improve the situations that make you feel nervous? It's very similar to the last question. What can you do to improve the situations that make you feel nervous? Practicing, prepare myself better to lead the situation. So practice, practice, practice. You know, I think probably one of the most terrifying things that you can do is to be asked at short notice to go speak to a large group of people without notes. You know, it cannot be done, really. It's very difficult. You know, so we practice, we practice, we practice. Plan ahead. Breathing, that's something I didn't mention, and you're right, breathing, correct breathing is very important. Long, deep breaths will slow your heart rate down and allow you to relax a little bit more. Try to get as much information as possible in advance. You know, again, knowing what you're going to be facing. You don't want to go in and have a nasty surprise. Try, mistake, correct, repeat. You guys have all the answers here. Mentally and spiritually prepare yourself. Accept imperfection. That's really important. You know, many of you guys would be high achievers and you can be sometimes very difficult on yourself. You know, accept your imperfections. You know, if we were all perfect, it would be a very boring world. I remind myself nothing is serious. It's going to happen if I fail. That's correct. What's the worst thing that can happen? The worst thing that happen is that you can become embarrassed. But today's embarrassment, a year from now, you can laugh about it. It will be just a bad memory. Superman pose. Actually, I'm gonna. Someone did the Superman pose, so I'm going to tell you about the thing that I skipped over. It was the orangutan. I'm going to share this story now. It's very short. A number of years ago, my wife works in corporate environment, and she came home and she was telling me about some training that they had been doing, and the training was around confidence. And she said, what you need to do is you need to do your orangutan. And I went from half listening to paying full attention. I said, what is the orangutan? I thought it was really funny. And she says, well, you know the way an orangutan puts their hands up in the air like that? I was confused. I said, yes, I am. She said, well, that's what you do to feel confident. And then she explained some more. She said, if you need to make a very important presentation, what you do is you go to the bathroom, you stand in front of a nice big mirror, and then you replicate that pose, like in the Olympics, when you've passed the finishing line, your arms are raised in victory and chest is pushed out. Now, when she told me, I was very skeptical and I laughed. But you know something, I tried it about 2 weeks later and it actually works. You do get, now it's only temporary, but you will get a boost of confidence and you will go, yes, I can do this. And this is what somebody else here is just talking about. And the Superman pose, it's the same thing. Mindfulness is really important. Mindfulness is very important. Someone has suggested that. Mindfulness is living in the moment, not thinking too much about the future, not getting in, experiencing the moment. What does it sound like? What does the room smell like? How many people are in the room? You know, just soak up the atmosphere. So you guys are getting all the right answers here. You have so much knowledge to share. Can we go to the next question, please, Elena? How can you transform a challenging experience into a positive lesson and opportunity for growth? There's something to think about. How can you transform a challenging experience into a positive lesson and opportunity for growth? The answers are coming in. Seek advice. Yeah, it is a long answer question. See the advantage. But by trial and error, ask constructive feedback. Well, if you think in terms of confidence, the challenging experience, if you can overcome that challenging experience, is a positive anyway, because you've tried and you've forced yourself out of your comfort zone. Learning that learning how I can be better next time. If you have a negative experience in the future, you can think at least it's not as bad as it was the last time. Yeah, that's true. Make notes about it, accepting that it was challenging, and see the opportunities and make a plan. Learn from it is really important, guys. You know, it's great you don't want to dwell too much on disappointments, but you should always learn from every disappointment. Find the reasons that make it challenging and then overcome them for the experience. And then list the positive points is another fantastic suggestion as well. List all the good things that will come out of this challenge. Trust that experience happened because it was needed for your growth, and accept that life is good in any way. Great mindfulness response too. I will view this experience from POV of positivism. Wisdom is required. I suppose wisdom needs to be earned also. Can we go to the next question, please? Thank you, Elena. What does feeling self-assured mean? Obviously, it means confident as well. But what would it mean to you if you always felt confident in your professional environment or even in your personal environment? Because it is possible to be, you know, confident in one and not necessarily confident in the other, and vice versa. Self-assured means prepared. That is really it in one word. That's fantastic. That is to be prepared. Acting with expertise, knowing the knowledge, the security. So self-assured, to be self-assured means feeling secure. That's really interesting. Because, you know, obviously in the context of personality, the opposite of security is insecure, which is a state of mind. But security has many other meanings than apart from just in this context. Have the knowledge, confidence in what I say, positive thoughts, acting with expertise, being smart, and believing in yourself. Can we go to the next question, please? What actions and activities make you feel good? So this is where you're sharing knowledge and helping other people, because this is all being written down, it's being recorded, so that other researchers coming after us will be able to look at this and learn from your experiences and your knowledge as well. Goal-driven. Do you think it's important for everybody to have goals? The impact you're having on others, in many cases, obviously that's going to be a positive impact. Sharing of information. And then obviously just the basic humanity of our existence also. Doing and helping others. When you reach your goals. So please notice here, guys, we live in a world where we become increasingly isolated, where we tend to work a lot with just, for example, computers, and we tend to work alone, even though we could be in a room with other people. But look at what we're seeing here. We're seeing a lot here in these answers about human interaction. And if I was one thing to you today, the most simple thing to go out and improve your confidence is to go out and search out social interaction. Interacting with other people will always give you confidence. You know, and that's what this is coming down to, helping others, supporting younger people. It's all about support, anticipation, and you know, you guys are really getting it here. You know, so these actions and activities make you feel personal. Spending time with people, volunteering, and seek out social interaction, seek out human interaction. It will always boost your confidence. And next question, please, Elena. How can you contribute to others feeling confident and capable? So this leads exactly from the previous question, what we were discussing, because again, this is what leading us towards interaction. You know, one of the reasons, like, for example, after COVID, there was a huge crisis in confidence because so many people had become socially isolated. They weren't interacting with other human beings on a face-to-face level. You know, so if we come back again, how can you contribute to others feeling confident and capable? Feedback, giving praise, inspiring others, motivating, telling them how good they are. Collaboration, collaborating with others is one of the most satisfying things we can do. Support, listening is really important. If you have a friend who's struggling with their confidence, listen to the words that they use when they talk about themselves. They're doing enough and great. Smile at others, makes them feel better. Smile and nod when they're presenting. Show them your attention. Be neutral. Recognize and collaborate. Constructive feedback, motivation, and praise. Listening. Again, positive feedback. This is all positive, positive, positive. So you guys get the message, you understand. Can we go to the next question, please? Thank you, Elena. What can you say to a close friend or family member, or even one of your fellow researchers that struggles with their confidence? Again, I understand that we limited the very short answers here, but you guys have conveyed so far, you're able to get your message across, even as it is. You can do it, keep trying, look for help, all will be good soon. These are all reassuring words, but also tell them that, you know, you are saying these words based on confidence, based on your own experience and based on your experience observing others. Listening is always very important. Understand the reasons behind it. You are great just as you are. You are better than you think you are. Find an activity to relax and then continue working. Some people like to work with music in the background. Be gentle with yourself. Great answer. You know, show compassion to yourself that you show to other people. Compliment them when they do something good. Support and praise them and offer help. And don't be judgmental, as we see there. Being judgmental to a friend is very difficult. There are always times when we need to have that conversation with a friend, but in day-to-day activities, try not to be judgmental. You know, friendship is about acceptance. Limiting beliefs need to be removed, as you say here. I am here to hear you and analyze it, and we can analyze this situation together. You know, so you guys, you're really picking up on this. You've got a great idea of what we're talking about. Next question, please. What small steps could you take daily to increase your own self-confidence? So just little things, just to work on your own confidence. How do you help yourself every day? Because one thing I notice time and time again, when I end up speaking with people and we've both recognized that their confidence level is low, they can never exactly pinpoint when it happened. Sometimes it can seem to just slip away without us even noticing. You know, you might have been really confident 2 years ago, but something happened between now and then. So what are we looking at here? Small steps, reaching small goals, Set daily goals. Praying can work for a lot of people. Having faith can be a very important part of a lot of people's lives. Breathing deeply again, but you know, you got to be a little tougher on yourself now than just breathing deeply. We're going to breathe deeply walking up the stairs. Meditation is really good, especially if you know how to meditate correctly. Believing in yourself. Waking up early, that's a good one. That will give you a head start many times. Remember nice things is a really good one. This is where we talk about, again, the positive thinking again, positive visualization. Remember nice things that happened to you. Remember good things you've done in the past. Baby steps for every goal. Tackle little tasks. Accept solutions. You guys have got some fantastic ideas here. Smile in the mirror. Smile at yourself. You know, you deserve a smile. Commit to a sport. Cheer and compliment. Plan that works for some people. You know, what do you want to get achieved today? What things done? Tackle little tasks and remember nice things. Can we move to the next question, please? You're providing excellent feedback, guys. This is going to be really helpful for anyone that's going to view this later on, because this is actually advice from peers. It will mean a lot more what you're saying than what I'm saying. So how can you identify yourself as a leader? Now that is, again, supposing that you want to be a leader, not everybody does. But in terms of leadership, I'm talking within the context of research. No way, okay, somebody doesn't want to be a leader. If people listen to me, by empathizing with others, I start things and lead people. People listen to your ideas, sharing my ideas, take charge and then give everybody space, listening to other people's needs, be well prepared, delegate, communicate clearly, take lead positions in organization and social events, being open-minded, easy, become your mom and that is it, you're a leader. Understanding people and their needs, helping other people to achieve. I did a presentation similar to this on leadership for EURAXESS a number of years ago, and we did a tremendous amount of research into it beforehand. And the one thing that we learned, despite all of the books that are written about leadership, is leaders learn by doing. There is no one personality type that is consistent across leadership. People can arise to leadership positions in different situations and in different circumstances. But the one thing that all good leaders have in common, where their ability to support others and bring other people way of thinking, and most importantly, good leaders choose the next generation of leaders and help to train them towards leadership. You know, you've really hit a lot of these. Inspiring, facilitating growth is really important. I talk to all and hear from all. Endorse responsibility in different organizations. Do the work in advance. All excellent suggestions. Can we go to the next question, please? Thank you once again, Elena. How will you keep your focus on developing your intention of building and developing your confidence on a daily basis? So for long-term, to make a long-term commitment to yourself on working and building your confidence, what would you do or what would you recommend? Let's say I'm asking for a friend of mine, what advice would you give me? A diary, excellent. Trying again, what we said. I like the idea of the diary too. Schedule an hour to do so. So what you do is you put aside an hour each day to doing that. Establish a daily routine that will make me feel good about myself. Well, you know, if we set out with a certain number of things we want to achieve in a day, if we do achieve those things, we feel incredibly rewarded at the end. Keep goals simple and achievable. I will tell myself I can cope with problems. Learning from your mistakes is really important. Try new things and prepare. Take courses on personal growth, yes. Reinforce my good skills and work on my weaknesses, that's really good. and being able to recognize your weaknesses and compensate for them. It's something that's really important to talk about in job interviews as well. So you've got a really good idea there. Do one easy positive thing each day, and upskilling as well. You know, again, if you recognize where you need help, upskill. Next question, please. What should you do the next time you feel insecure or like you're not good enough? What advice would you give, guys? The next time you feel that insecurity. Prepare comes in again. You see why the same things keep coming up again and again around confidence? Preparing. Ask why. You know, why am I feeling this way? What's the cause of this? You know, you need to identify why you're limiting yourself with that belief. You know, you may need to speak to somebody about that, somebody you trust, but it's really important. Reflection, you know, try to reflect. We're talking prepare. We've mentioned that. It is unfounded. Yes, this fear is unfounded. Question your thoughts. So you guys have really picked this up. You realize that when you have these negative thoughts, they're not necessarily real. They're just something that's there. And when you examine them, they don't usually stand up to scrutiny. They can just disappear. Embrace it and try to reflect. Take a breath and reflect. Think of your strengths. You know, you'll be better next time. Think about the skills that you have. Think about the skills you've developed. And think that this is an opportunity for me to show what I can do. This is what I've been waiting for. You know, you guys know all this. You're really taking this in, and now you're going to be able to spread to your colleagues and to your friends. We only have 3 more questions left. Can we do the next one, please? How does other people's success make you feel about yourself? This is an important one, guys. I have my own. I want to wait for you to answer first. You know, Oscar Wilde said that being successful is not enough. Other people must be seen to fail also. He also said, every time a friend is successful, a little part of me dies. He was not very generous in those areas. So it depends on the person, that's true. If it's a good friend or colleague, you're really happy for them. Thank you for that honest answer. Make you feel proud, make you feel inspired, makes you think that you can do it. They're an example to follow. It depends on your own state of mind. It depends on the relationship. Makes you feel competitive. To be honest, that's kind of the way I get. I like to compete as well, but friendly competitiveness. Somebody else said it shouldn't affect you. Well, it shouldn't, but it can. And, you know, if it does affect you, it should only affect you positively. It should never affect you negatively. You know, you should never let somebody else's success affect you negatively. Envious is a perfectly normal and natural human reaction. But that envy can then be used to motivate you to succeed yourself. Jealousy is the same thing. Disappointed. Yeah, it could be disappointed because perhaps that could have been you. But next time it could be you. I can do it. Yes. Injustice. Well, not always. Sometimes some people deserve their success. Excited. Yes, it should make you excited because that presents you with opportunities for yourself. And the second last question, please, Elena. How do you feel when you have to be at the center of attention in front of others? So this is like the public speaking thing again, but not necessarily public speaking. When you are the center of attention and others are looking to you for the answers or the solutions, how do you feel about that? Uncomfortable. That can be uncomfortable. Like a child, okay. Panicked. I hate it. Anxious, nervous, okay. But you remember what we were saying earlier, guys? Now, perhaps it might depend on the circumstances in which you become the center of attention. For example, if you go into work that day and you weren't expecting to be the center of attention, and then all of a sudden all eyes are focused to you, That can be uncomfortable. That can make you very nervous. However, if it's something where you have an opportunity and something to prepare for, it can be an opportunity. Challenged, overwhelmed. Overwhelmed is a very important word there. That means it's not something that you want to really do, you want to get away from. This is a really good question here, guys. And for those of you who are giving these answers, I want you to look at the answers and question yourself on the answers. Because it's really good, the answers you're giving here, but you need to examine them. Use your research and neutrality and make yourself work. Entertain and educate, not so comfortable, don't know what to do. Think about, again, use positive visualization and think about in the positive visualization, you know, how your alter ego would deal with a situation like that. Or maybe somebody who you admire, who you know has a lot of confidence, how would they deal with that? And why would they deal with it a certain way? You know, think about it that way and then question your own thoughts again. And then finally, we go to the final question before we start to take questions from you guys. Again, we go on the scale of 1 to 10 on the ladder. So basically, having taken in the information that we've shared with each other now, how would you feel on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of your confidence now? Can we show a difference? Okay, so we're doing well. If you are below, let's say 4 or 5, I am not the type of person who can help you. If you are, you know, really, really low score, you should seek out and discuss with somebody, have a chat with them. You and I were discussing this, Svetlana. Is this correct? Are you there?
Yes, here is the place to mention that actually we are about to establish support for mental health of researchers. This is through the cost action, and it will be done for the beginning for refugee researchers, but later on I hope it will be a usual service at EURAXESS. And help us. I wish we will have success in that, and we will be able to help each other.
Yeah. So like it's really important because when we think about confidence, sometimes we can come up against the question of mental health, and mental health is really important. So if you feel you have an issue in that direction, always seek help, always look for the right person to speak to. So now, guys, I'd like to hear from your questions if you can. Do you guys have questions we can discuss? I apologize for the coughing. I'm just recovering from a bout of COVID, and the air conditioning in here is now making my throat very dry. But we're almost finished, so I'll crack on. So do you guys have any questions for us, or any questions that you'd like to send to the group? And thank you so much, Elena, for your help with the Mentimeter. So do we have questions? Let me see. Yeah, I see your point there.
Not too many.
I do see your point, Elena. And actually, in my day-to-day work, I'm working with a lot of international protection applicants also. And I see so many people who are being forced to do work for which they are qualified to do much higher levels of work than the work they're actually doing. And that can be really soul-destroying. That can be very, very bad. And that would affect your definitely affect your confidence. What daily routines would you advise? That depends exclusively on yourself. You should first of all ask yourself, what do I want to achieve? Sometimes a daily routine can be something as simple as eating the correct breakfast every day. A lot of people don't eat breakfast. Maybe you might want to do some physical exercise. Maybe there's something you want to achieve every day. Depending on what you want to achieve, that's how you set your daily routine. Another great question: when does too much confidence become arrogance? And this is what we get when we get, like, for example, that can be very common in teenagers when they are confident because they have no experience, they don't understand the arrogance. Arrogance is when you behave like you are better than everybody else. That's when confidence becomes arrogant. It's quite okay, like I said, to be confident. And as I said earlier, some very introverted people are very confident. But if you're very loud and you're disruptive of the feelings of others and you don't care what other people have to say or you don't care about their opinion, that's when it becomes arrogant. I would like to discuss some. Is training small talk useful? I'm not sure if I understand what that means. Is training small talk useful? Malu, could you please expand on that? No matter what you do, confidence is never permanent. That's correct. What is your opinion of this? How can we make confidence lasting longer? Yeah, that's a great point. And I have already alluded to that. Confidence is never permanent. And, you know, I've had conversations with people in the past where we would talk through situations and then I would introduce confidence. And then they would say, oh my God, I've just realized I have no confidence. What happened? I know 3 years ago, I was very confident. We never think about confidence until we need it. Being resilient, you know, increasing resilience, working on your confidence to the point where that if somebody gives you a lot of praise, it's not going to go to your head. It's not going to make you arrogant. It's not going to distort your perception of reality. At the same time, if you receive fair criticism that is based on constructive criticism, that's fine too. That should not erode your confidence either. That's what resilience is, and that's what makes confidence last longer. But confidence is like a plant. It does need to be watered from time to time. You can't just ignore it. If you are going to need confidence, you always need to do a little check on your confidence from time to time, every couple of months. Question: how can you be confident if you never get anything done in time? Well, my smart ass answer would be time management. But that doesn't really reflect on confidence. That really reflects more about in terms of really time management, unless you're being overworked. Oh, training to do small talk, dare to talk to strangers. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier on. Seek out social situations. Talking to strangers, you can, you know, you meet people on public transport, you can meet really interesting people, have fantastic conversations, but always make sure that there is an exit strategy just in case the conversation starts to go away you did not anticipate. Routines for increasing confidence would be about being consistent and repetition. You know, introduce a daily routine. Find out what makes you feel good about yourself. It can be a smile in the mirror. Sometimes it can be thinking about your achievements or writing down your achievements or reading through your achievements or reading through what you will achieve in the future. This can be a regular thing to boost your confidence. Any books or resources you could recommend? There's tons and tons of books of resources and recommends. But like I said, guys, this is a soft skill. It's not brain surgery. You know, the type of things that you guys do in your research every day is much more complicated than this. Although this is a little more difficult to measure and, you know, to hold up and look and examine. But, you know, don't mystify it. You know, confidence is just something that you need to be aware of, and you know when it's not there. So in terms of resources, there's lots out there. There's some really good TED Talks. I recommend that you look up Dr. Ulrich on her work on self-awareness. She does a TED Talk on that also. I'd be loath to, I don't really want to recommend any particular book because there's almost an industry in creating these type of things. And, you know, for a lot of these books, basically the core message can be defined in 800 words, and yet they will write a whole book around it just to kind of make more money. You know, you're only talking about very basic, simple, common sense things, and all soft skills come back to that. It's all about believing in yourself. You know, if you get information, if information is coming to you that threatens your confidence, you need to examine it. You know, don't accept everything at face value. Do a health check on yourself from time to time, and always ask, where are these self-limiting beliefs coming from? Where are they coming from? And I think, is there any more? Oh, yes, hang on. Yes, even if you to consult me 2 years ago, I'm ready to do in order to accept me. I'm not sure I understand that. Hang on. Don't you think confidence building strategies need to be tailored based on source of lack of confidence? I agree completely. For example, if the source of your lack of confidence would be to speaking to large groups, for example, that's the one thing you need to work on. Generic confidence buildings would not be of much help. I agree with that. But at the same time too, one thing that we never really value around soft skills is the terminology. By giving ourselves terminology like self-limiting beliefs, we're then putting a name on something. And once you put a name on something and a label, well, then you can deal with it. And that's really what soft skill training is all about. For example, lack of confidence due to joblessness is different from no confidence due to funding proposal rejection. Exactly. And the lack of confidence due to joblessness is far more profound. It's far more profound than not getting a funding proposal, because you can try another funding proposal and you can keep trying. But when you have been long-term unemployed for a long period of time, you know, the confidence levels are on the floor. They are really, really bad. And, you know, I've worked with people in that situation, and it is a long, long way back. Coming from an Asian country, I mostly mess up with the level of formality in the European context. Sometimes I am too respectful and formal that I can't express myself. Yeah, we mentioned earlier, you know, being confident around people from a different background to yourself. Well, really, the way that you deal with that is the way everybody deals with that. You immerse yourself in the culture, and over time, you learn what is normal within that environment, what is acceptable. So in the early stages, like, for example, I lived in the United States for 10 years. You know, in the early years of that, you just watch and you learn and you listen. Yeah, that's how you deal with cultural differences. Try to learn more about local culture, which is just what I said. There are lots of videos on this and about each country. Thanks for the suggestion. Do we have any more questions? Yes, we do. What if the self-limiting beliefs are obviously based on fact? Okay, I would need to have an example of that. But let's say, for example, now I need to be careful here. Let's say, for example, that you are not a tall person. Let's say if you are vertically challenged, as they say, and you are not tall, but you want to be a basketball player. Okay, so that is a brutal. What is the self-limiting belief is obviously based on fact. So there's an example. I am not tall, but I want to play basketball. Yeah, that's not a self-limiting belief. That is a recognition of a reality based on fact. So there are lots and lots of highly successful small basketball players, but not nearly as many as there are tall basketball players. So while some small basketball players will succeed, most will not. So if you want to give me a more definite example in terms of in a research context, I would be happy to go over that as well. Distinguish between confidence about your personality and confidence based on your research. Yes. And this is what I was talking about. Sometimes we can be confident in our private life or not so much in our professional life, or vice versa. Your confidence about your personality is a bit like what we said about self-esteem. You're confident around your friends. If you're basically, when you stop becoming confident in an environment is when you are not 100% sure. Being confident is being 100% sure or else being sure that you can deal with any eventuality. So if you're dealing with, let's say, in your research or in your professional life, you might have colleagues who know more than you do, or you might have colleagues who are not very supportive and might actually not be prepared to listen to what you want to suggest. It is very, very possible to be confident inside work and not be confident outside work, or vice versa. You can be very confident in your job, but not confident in your private life. Like, for example, I've worked with some really incredible people who then made really bad choices in their private life. You know, so it can happen. Confidence depends on what country you live. One side in peaceful countries, other, yes, in war countries, that's correct. Oh yes, what we're discussing here is definitely a first world problem. Confidence is a first world problem. In other parts of the world, they have far more important things to think about. But what we're dealing with here is the career development and the career advancement of postdoctoral researchers. You know, so your point is very valid, but my response to that is, but we're only doing it within this context. And what you say is 100% correct. Is confidence a belief system, a self-perception, or a skill? Yes, so you put me on the spot there. Well, you can have a belief system that you want to be more confident. Self-perception, it is self-perception. If you view yourself as confident, that will be how you perceive yourself. And then if you think that you want to work on your confidence and you want to increase it and you want to make it better, then at that point, when you start to practice it, that's when it becomes a skill. It results from interaction with others. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, the more you interact with other people from different cultures and just on a basic human level, the more comfortable and the more articulate you will feel. Svetlana has been working with postdoctoral researchers a lot longer than me, and she will tell you that the one feedback that we get all the time from industry is, you guys have such fantastic researchers, they have such a high knowledge base, but their communication skills are bad. And one of the reasons for this is because of the culture we've grown up with in the last few years, where as teenagers, we are far less interactive personally. We spend a lot more time on computers and on telephones. So our social skills are not developed as much as they used to be. And because our social skills are not as developed as they used to be, our communication skills are not as developed as they used to be. So that's really the difference in terms of the self-perception or skill. It becomes a skill when you recognize it, when you quantify it for your own purposes, and then you practice to make it better.
Okay, last questions.
I think that's it. We didn't do too bad on the time either.
We are about to end. A few more minutes.
The early questions that I gave you to work with yourself on the PowerPoint, Svetlana has those and she can share them with anyone who wishes to have them. Guys, I really want to thank you so much for your time and attention. Thank you so much for your interaction and help me deliver this webinar today. I hope it has been helpful to you. And if we can work and help any of you in the future, please let us know. Svetlana has all of our contact details.
Thank you very much, Dean. We will post
all
of the material on the website of the event. Thanks to Elena for supporting the whole webinar. And
it would not have been possible without Elena.
Yes, and we will put the outcome of the Mentimeter also in the materials so that you can use them later on. Thank you very much to everyone and have a nice evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.